This is the story of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the most successful book ever to come out of the great publishing corporations of the Milky Way galaxy, and many of the more relaxed civilizations on the outer eastern rim of the galaxy. The Hitchhiker's Guide has already supplanted the great Encyclopedia Galactica as the standard understanding of all knowledge and wisdom, because although it has many omissions, contains much that is inauthentic, or at least wildly inaccurate. It scores over the older, more pedestrian work in two important ways. First, it is slightly cheaper, and second, it has the words, "Don't Panic," inscribed in large, friendly letters on the cover. To tell the story of the book, it is best to tell the story of some of the minds behind it. A human from the planet Earth was one of them. Though as our story opens, he no more knows his destiny than a tea leaf knows the history of East India Company. His name is Arthur Dent. He is a 6-foot-tall ape descendant, and someone is trying to drive a highway through his home.
Come on, Mr. Dent. You can't win, you know. There's no point in lying down in the path of progress.
Screw progress. It's overrated.
But you must realize that you can't lie in front of the bulldozers indefinitely.
Honestly, I'm satisfied. We'll see who breaks first.
I'm afraid you're going to have to accept it. This highway has got to be built, and it's going to be built. Nothing you can say or do.
Why does it have to be built?
What do you mean, why does it have to be built? It's a highway. You've got to build highways.
Didn't anyone consider the alternatives?
There aren't any alternatives. Look, you're quite entitled to make any suggestions or protests at the appropriate time.
Appropriate time? The first I knew about it was when the contractor arrived at the door yesterday. I asked him if he'd come to clean the windows, and he'd said he'd come to demolish my house. He didn't tell me straight away, of course. He first wiped a couple of windows and charged me $5. Then he told me.
Mr. Dent, the plans have been available in the planning office for the last 9 months.
Yes, I went around to find them yesterday afternoon. You hadn't exactly gone out of your way to highlight them, had you? I mean, like, actually telling anybody or anything?
Plans are on display.
How many average members of the public are in habit of casually checking the local planning office? It's not exactly a noted social venue, is it?
That depends where you're looking.
I had to go down to the cellar.
That's the display department.
With a light.
Ah, the lights had probably broken.
So are the stairs.
But you found the notice, didn't you?
Yes, it was on display in the bottom of a locked filing cabinet, stuck in a disused bathroom with a sign on the door saying, "Beware of leopard." Ever thought of going into advertising?
It's not as if it's a particularly nice house anyway.
I happen rather to like it.
Mr. Dent!
Hello? Yes?
Have you any idea how much damage the bulldozer would suffer if I just let it roll straight over you?
How much?
None at all.
Coincidence, not at all, is exactly how much suspicion the ape descendant, Arthur Dent, had that one of his closest friends was not descended from an ape, but was in fact from a small planet somewhere in the vicinity of Betelgeuse. Arthur Dent's failure to suspect this reflects the care with which his friend blended himself into human society after a fairly shaky start. When he first arrived 15 years ago, the minimal research he had done suggested to him that the name Ford Prefect would be nicely inconspicuous.
Hello, Arthur.
Ford, how are you?
Fine. Look, are you busy?
Well, I've just got this bulldozer to lie in front of. Otherwise, no, not in particular.
There's a pub down the road. Let's have a drink and we can talk.
Mr. Dent, we're waiting.
Ford, that man wants to knock my house down.
Well, he can do it whilst you're away, can't he?
But I don't want him to.
Well, just ask him to wait until you get back.
Ford?
God damn it, Arthur! Will you please just listen to me? I'm not fooling. I've got to tell you the most important thing you've ever heard. I've got to tell you now. And I've got to tell you in that pub over there.
Why?
Because you're going to need a very strong drink. Now, please, just trust me.
By drink, Ford Prefect meant alcohol. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy describes alcohol as a colorless, volatile liquid formed by the fermentation of sugars, and also notes its intoxicating effect on certain carbon-based life forms.
6 pints of bitter, and quickly, please. The world's about to end.
Oh, yes, sir. Nice weather for it. Going to watch the match this afternoon?
No point.
Foregone conclusion that. You reckon, sir? Whitecaps clearly.
No. It's just that the world's gonna end.
Lucky escape for the Whitecaps, if it did.
No, not really.
There you are, sir. 6 pints.
Keep the change.
What? From a favor? Thank you, sir.
You got 10 minutes left to spend it.
Ford, would you please tell me what the hell is going on?
Drink up. You've got 3 pints to get through.
3? At lunchtime?
Time is an illusion. Lunchtime as well.
Very deep. You should send that into Reader's Digest. They've got a page for people like you.
Drink up.
Why 3 pints?
Muscle relaxant. You'll need it.
Did I do something wrong today? Or has the world always been like this? And I've been too wrapped up in myself to notice.
Alright, I'll try to explain, but how long have we known each other, Arthur?
5 years maybe? 6? Most of it seemed to make some kind of sense at the time.
Alright, how would you react if I said I'm not from Whistler, but from a small planet somewhere in the vicinity of Betelgeuse?
I don't know. Why do you think it's the sort of thing you feel you're likely to say?
Drink up, the world's about to end.
This must be a Thursday. I never could get the hang of Thursdays.
On this particular Thursday, something was moving quietly through the ionosphere miles above the surface of the planet. But few people on the surface of the planet were aware of it. One of the 6,000 million people who hadn't glanced into the ionosphere was a lady called Lady Cynthia Fitzmelon. She was at that moment standing in front of Arthur Dent's house in Olympic Village. Many of those listening to her speech would probably have experienced great satisfaction to know that in 4 minutes' time she would evaporate into a whiff of hydrogen, ozone, and carbon monoxide. However, when the moment came, they would hardly notice because they too would be busy evaporating.
I have been asked to come here to say a few words to mark the beginning of work on the very splendid and worthwhile New Vancouver Highway. And I must say immediately, what a great honor and a great privilege I think it must be for you, the people of Surrey, to have this gleaming new motorway going through your cruddy little village. I'm sorry, your little country village.
Why'd you push off, you coot-faced old bat?
What about our bloody homes?
And for myself, it gives me great pleasure to take this bottle of very splendid and worthwhile champagne and break it against the noble prow of this very splendid and worthwhile yellow bulldozer.
What's that?
Don't worry, they haven't started yet.
Oh, good.
It's probably just your house being knocked down.
What?
It hardly makes any difference at this stage.
My God, it is. What the hell are they doing? We had an agreement.
Let them have their fun.
Damn you and your fairy stories. They're smashing up my home. Stop, you vandals. You home wreckers. You half-crazed Visigoths. Stop, will you?
Arthur, come back. It's pointless. Hell, I beg her after him. Barman, quickly, can you just give me like 4 packets of peanuts?
Certainly, sir. There you are. 28 pence.
Keep the change.
Are you serious, sir? I mean, do you really think the world's gonna end this afternoon?
Yes, in just over 1 minute and 35 seconds.
Well, isn't there anything we can do?
No, nothing.
I always thought we were meant to lie down and put paper bags over our heads or something. Will that help?
If you like, yes. Excuse me, I've got to go find my friend.
Okay then, let's do it.
Pinstrip barbarians. I'll sue the council for every penny it's got. I'll have you hung, drawn and quartered, and whipped and boiled, then I'll chop you into little bits until you've had enough.
Arthur, don't bother. There isn't time. Get over here. There's only 10 seconds left.
And then I will do it some more. And when I've finished, I will take all the bits, and I will jump on them, and I will carry on jumping on them until I get blistered. Or I can think of something even more unpleasant to do. And then What the hell is that?
Arthur, quick! Over here!
What the hell is it?
It's a fleet of flying saucers. What do you think it is? Quick, you've got to get a hold of this rod.
What do you mean, flying saucers?
Just that it's a Vogon constructor fleet.
A what?
A Vogon constructor fleet. I picked up news of their arrival a few hours ago on my sub-ether radio.
Ford, I don't think I can cope with this anymore. I think I'll just go and have a little lie down somewhere.
No, just start here. Keep calm, and just take hold of...
People of Earth, your attention please. This is Vogon Jouts of the Galactic Hyperspace Planning Council. As you will no doubt be aware, the plans for the development of the outlying regions of the western spiral arm of the galaxy require the building of a hyperspace express route, or highway, through your star system. And, regrettably, your planet is one of those scheduled for demolition. The process will take slightly less than 2 of your Earth minutes. Thank you very much. There's no point in acting all surprised about it. All the planning charts and demolition orders have been on display at your local planning department in Alpha Centauri for 50 of your Earth years. So you've had plenty of time to lodge any formal complaints, and it's far too late to start making a fuss about it.
What do you mean you've never been to Alpha Centauri? Oh, for heaven's sake, mankind, it's only 4 light years away, you know. I'm sorry, but if you can't be bothered to take interest in local affairs, that's your own lookout. Energize the demolition beams. God, I don't know. Apathetic, bloody planet, I've no sympathy at all.
What happened? Where am I? Who are you?
If you've never been through a matter transference beam before, you've probably lost some salt and protein. The beer you should have had would have cushioned your system a bit. How are you feeling?
Like a military academy. Bits of me keep passing out. If I asked you where the hell we were, would I regret it?
We're safe.
Good.
We're in a small galley cabin in one of the spaceships of the Volgon constructor fleet.
Oh, this is obviously some strange usage of the word safe that I was previously unaware of. How did we get here?
We hitched a lift.
Excuse me, are you trying to tell me that we stuck out our thumbs and some bug-eyed monster stuck his head out and said, "Hi fellas, hop right in. I can take you as far as the Basingstoke roundabout."
Well, the thumb's an electronic sub-ether device. The roundabout's at Barnard's Star, 6 light years away. But otherwise, it's more or less right.
And the bug-eyed monster?
Is green, yes.
Fine. When can I go home?
Well, you can't.
Good grief, is this really the interior of a flying saucer?
It certainly is. What do you think?
It's a bit cramped, isn't it?
What did you expect?
Well, I don't know. Gleaming control panels, flashing lights, computer screens, not old mattresses.
These are the Dentrasi sleeping quarters.
I thought you said they were called Vogons or something.
The Vogons run the ship. The Dentrasis are the cooks. They let us on board.
I'm confused.
Here, have a look at this.
What is it?
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's a sort of electronic book. It'll tell you everything you want to know. That's its job.
I like the cover. Don't panic. It's the first helpful or intelligent thing anybody said to me all day.
That's why it sells so well. Here, press this button and the screen will give you the index. Several million entries, fast win through the index to V. There you are, Volgan Constructor Fleets. Enter the code on the tabulator and read what it says.
Vogon Constructor Fleets. Here's what you do if you want to get a lift from a Vogon. Forget it. They're one of the most unpleasant races in the galaxy. Not actually evil, but bad-tempered, bureaucratic, officious, and callous. They wouldn't even lift a finger to save their own grandmothers from the ravenous bug-bladder beast of Trawl, without orders signed in triplicate. Sent in, sent back, queried, lost, found, subjected to public inquiry, lost again, and finally buried in soft peat for 3 months and recycled as firelighters. The best way to get a drink out of a Vogon is to stick your fingers down his throat, and the best way to irritate him is to feed his grandmother to the ravenous bug-bladder beast of Trawl.
What a strange book. How did we get a lift then?
That's the point. It's out of date now. I'm doing the field research for the new revised edition of the guide. So, for instance, I'll have to include a revision pointing out that since the Vogons have made so much money being professionally unpleasant, they can now afford to employ Dentrasi cooks, which gives us a rather useful little loophole.
Who are the Dentrasi?
The best cooks and the best drink mixers, and they will always help hitchhikers on board, partly because they like the company, but mostly because it annoys the Volgans, which is exactly the sort of thing you'll need to know if you're an improvised hitchhiker trying to see the marvels of the galaxy for less than $30 Altarian dollars a day. And that's my job. Fun, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Unfortunately, I got stuck on Earth for rather long than I intended. I came for a week and I was stranded for 15 years.
But how did you get through in the first place?
Easy. I got a lift with a teaser. You don't know what a teaser is. Okay, I'll tell you. Teasers are usually rich kids with nothing to do. They cruise around looking for planets which haven't made interstellar contact yet, and buzz them.
Buzz them?
Yes. They find some isolated spot with very few people around, then land right by some poor unsuspecting soul who no one is ever going to believe, and then strut up and down in front of them wearing silly antenna on their head and making beep beep noises. Rather childish, really.
Ford, I don't know if this sounds like a silly question, but what am I doing here?
Well, you know that. I rescued you from Earth.
And what has happened on Earth?
It's been disintegrated.
Has it?
Yes, it just boiled away into space.
I'm a bit upset about that.
Yes, I can understand.
So what do I do?
You come along with me and enjoy yourself. You'll need to have this fish in your ear.
I beg your pardon? What the devil's that?
Listen, it might be important.
What?
It's the Vogan captain making an announcement on the PA.
But I can't speak Vogon.
You don't need to. Just put the fish in your ear. Come on, it's only a little one.
Should have a good time. Message repeat. This is your captain speaking, so stop whatever you are doing and pay attention. First of all, I see from our instruments that we have a couple of hitchhikers aboard our ship. Hello, wherever you are. I just want to make it totally clear that you are not at all welcome. I worked hard to get where I am today, and I didn't become captain of the Vogon constructor ship simply so that I could turn it into a taxi service for degenerate freeloader. I've sent out a search party. And as soon as they find you, I will pull you off the ship. If you're very lucky, I might read you some of my poetry. Secondly, we are about to jump to hyperspace for the journey to Bernard's star. On arrival, we will stay in the dock for 72-hour refit. And no one's to leave the ship during that time. I repeat, all planet leave is cancelled. I've just had an unhappy love affair, so I don't see why anyone else should have a good time. Message ends.
Charming, these Vogons. I wish I had a daughter so I could forbid her to marry one.
You wouldn't need to. They've got as much sex appeal as a road accident. And you'd better be prepared for the jump into hyperspace. It's unpleasantly like being drunk.
Well, what's so unpleasant about being drunk? And what's this fish doing in my ear?
Translating for you. Look under Babelfish in the book.
What's happening?
We're going to hyperspace.
The babblefish is small, yellow, leech-like, and probably the oddest thing in the universe. It feeds on brainwave energy, absorbing all unconscious frequencies and then excreting telepathically a matrix formed from the conscious frequencies and nerve signals picked up from the speech centers of the brain. The practical upshot of which is that if you stick one in your ear, you can instantly understand anything said to you in any form of language. The speech you hear decodes the brainwave matrix. Now, it is such a bizarrely improbable coincidence that anything so mind-bogglingly useful could evolve purely by chance, that some thinkers have chosen to see it as a final clinching proof of the non-existence of God. Most leading theologians claim that this argument is a load of dingo's kidneys. Meanwhile, the poor babblefish, by effectively removing all barriers to communication between different cultures and races, has caused more and bloodier wars than anything else in the history of creation.
I'll never have a drink again. What an extraordinary book.
Help me write the new edition.
Do you get much useful material on Earth?
I was able to extend the entry, yes.
Oh, let's see what it says in the new edition then.
Okay.
Let's see, Earth, tap out code. There's the page. Oh, it doesn't seem to have an entry.
Yes, it does. See, right there at the bottom of the screen, just under Eccentrica galumbatus, the triple-breasted whore of Eroticon 5.
What, there? Oh, yes.
Harmless.
Is that all it's got to say? One word? Harmless? What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Well, there are 100 billion stars in the galaxy, and a limited amount of space in the book, and no one knew much about Earth, of course.
Well, I hope you've managed to rectify that a little.
Yes, I transmitted a new entry off to the editor. He had to trim it a bit, but it's still an improvement.
What does it say now?
Mostly harmless.
Mostly harmless?
That's the way it is. We're on a different scale now.
Okay, Ford, I'm with you. I'm bloody well coming with you. Where are we now?
Not far from Bernard's star. It's a beautiful place. It's sort of a hyperspace junction. You can get virtually anywhere from there.
What's that?
Well, if we're lucky, it's just the Volgans come to throw us into space.
And if we're unlucky?
If we're unlucky, the captain might want to read us some of his poetry first.
O freddle grunt bugly thy mitations are to me. As plurted gable blotchets and lurged be, group I implore thee fluting churtle drones, and a hoopsity draggle me with cringly bindle worlds. For otherwise, I will rent thee in the gable warts with my blurtle crunchin' if I don't.
I promise! Ah! The pain! Make it stop! Ah! No more! Please! I'm sorry! Ah! Ah! Help! Someone help me, please! Please get me out of this, please! Ah! Make it stop! I don't want to hear anymore! Stop, please! Please! I don't want to hear anymore! Let me go, please! Please! Make me stop! Ah! 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 The pain! The pain! Ah! Ah!
So, Earthlings, I present you with a simple choice. I was going to throw you straight out into empty blackness of space to die horribly and slowly. But there is one way, one simple way in which you may save yourselves. Think very carefully, for you hold your very lives in your hands. Now choose. Either die in the vacuum of space, or tell me how good my poetry was.
Will our heroes survive this terrible ordeal? Can they win through with their integrity unscathed? Can they escape without completely compromising their honor and artistic judgment? Tune in next week for the next exciting installment of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.